severely how the engagement goes down, right? This happens all the time. This is like BJJ 101, okay? Stay right here. I'm going to ask him to lay down so everybody can see a view of this, okay? The moment these shields come up, I got to clear them out of my way. If you understand passing, it's a form of division, head on one side, hip on the other, in a real simple concept. So I'm going to take these legs, and if we were going actually really live, there would be some form of grip fighting, okay? That's really how it goes down. So the moment there's an opportunity to smash, I'm going to do one thing. All I want to do, in a very simple context, I'm going to ask you to, there's this imaginary wall here. There's absolutely no reason for your hand to go past this imaginary wall. If I'm smashing with this forearm, I'm imagining there's a wall here and it stops here. It stops. It doesn't go further. Okay, so when you smash, I don't want to see this. If you've cleared your hand through, then you're going to have bad habits with gi, that he's going to latch onto a fabric. With no gi, you can get away with it, but there's also another issue, that if you smash it, if you've been coming for a while, you understand deep detail for smashing, you're going to go crossing it, and then you're going to end up on that side, where you're back step here, and he's going to go on behind your deltoid line and go up on a hip. It's too complicated to talk about, and I don't want to demonstrate it right now, but it is a reason why I tell you to do every single thing in a very specific manner, because it has a correlation and an attachment later in another manner. Okay, so I'm asking you, don't bring the hand past the center point. Also, you're going to have bad habits later. The only time you ever bring the hand past the center point is when I'm dragging. Okay, different scenario. So we're here, and all of a sudden we're in this hand fight, and we're imagining we're grabbing hand. There's an opportunity now with this forearm to push this kneecap. There's this imaginary wall. All I'm looking to do is replace this. Everything is a replacement before I eliminate, okay? So the moment I get an opportunity to drop my body line behind that right there, there's no wall here, okay? So all Professor Gino's gonna do is take one large step over here. Perfect, that's all we did, okay? We're not gonna go anywhere. We're gonna go strong side. I'm gonna call this the strong side, I'm gonna call that the weak side. For a reason. His hands are facing this way. So when I land on that side, there's a lot of strength over here. So we say that's a strong side. If Professor Gino goes that way, backstep it, that's the weak side. There's nothing over there. Okay? But I can't pick and choose what's going to happen right now. So what I'm going to ask you to do, okay, I'm going to ask you, this is how we took off the last class from last night, and I'm going to review that, and then we're going to add to this. When I get to this stage, okay, this is all I'm not going to go any further with this. I want to get in front of these shins. Regard recovery is very, very simple. It's you getting this shin between me and you. If I can get in front of that shin, I beat you. My probabilities go up dramatically. So I'm going to ask Professor Gino to land this kneecap anywhere in front of this knee. Okay? Land it. Perfect. Now I'm going to ask him to back step. Do one thing for me. See that back step right there? For drill purposes, I'm going to ask you to lay on this hip. I'm not going to ask you to back step and square up right away. Okay? Land on the hip. Land on. Perfect. Stay right there. Reason I'm asking you to land on this hip, okay? And that weird angle that you think this is weird. This isn't weird. Okay? I wanted to get as far away from this as possible. Okay? I also want the opportunity. Right now I have an inside position right here where I'm in front of this. But you don't think this is going to start coming in? Of course it is. Okay? I also want to release this leg so I can attack that neck up there. Okay? So right away, I said I don't release. I punch, right? Perfect. Now I can release. Perfect. I punch for a reason. I punch so that I can block both of these legs from re-shielding in front of me. Everything has a mechanical purpose. Okay? It's an engineering problem. It's not random. You don't look at a move on YouTube. That's why sometimes when I say that move's not real, because it wasn't engineered properly. That's the truth. Okay? So everything is an engineering problem. We're going to land it, and we're going to imagine at this point, all we're going to do is about 5 minutes of this warm-up. Okay? You're going to go dropping, you're going to drive back in, and bring him back to a side control set. Bring him back to a side control set. Side control set. Side control set. Perfect. Come back in one more time. I'm going to ask you not to do one thing. I'm going to ask you not to take your trailing hand and put it between your legs. Go back in. Smash. Big step. Drop it. Back step it. Perfect. Now this is going to happen with a lot of people. They're going to put their hand in me here, and then you're going to think that hypothetically you're going to do Washington, they got the New York Open coming, the Pans are probably coming back to New York, and you're going to do this. And you're going to drive him back because you were so aggressive to get these 2 points. And what is he going to do? You're going to stuff your head, And now you're in a reverse triangle, fighting to get out of that. And luckily, hopefully you don't get choked out when you don't leave half of your face with a red mark, like because you fought so hard. And then maybe, if you're so stuck down here, he starts attacking up there. I told you, Galio Sima made a run at ABCC with that reverse triangle, King of Kings, okay? So that's all we're gonna start with. Pretty simple. We're gonna do it for about 3-4 minutes, get a warm up, and then we're gonna get real outcomes of what this man's gonna do after this part. I'm going to tell you, it's an engineering problem. I'm gonna give you the best possible chances to give a positive outcome. So I'm gonna tell you why you're gonna do what you're gonna do. Smash, catch the trailing leg. See that pin on the bottom right there on that calf? I don't want to get too technical because there's a lot of forms to pin that top leg. If you get pinned on this leg, it is better to go to the weak side. The weak side is his weak side. So I'd rather be behind him, that I can knee him to the skull, put him to sleep, get to his back, get my hooks in. All these positives come this way. I don't want to go that way, but I have to if I'm playing the game of like passing with points or like it is a sport. So if I'm going to come this way, and in real fighting, you're not going to pass. In real fighting, you're not passing. If you pass in real fighting, you don't know what's going on. Right? So we're playing a point game, it is a sport, and now you're dropping in front. Okay? But one thing right now for me, see this leg right here? Anytime you catch that leg, because the fear is if you don't have this leg, and you go to weak side, and he's a good leg locker, he's going to catch this dump, and he's going to reach up following it, and he's going to suck it in right away, and now you're fighting for that leg, okay? So anytime you can pin that top leg, you always go weak side. But that's not what we're working right now. We already did that, okay? So we're going to imagine he got no pin on that leg, okay? And now what I just told you before was that you dropped or you landed somewhere out here. You know what? And you're going for it. And I'm screaming, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. You're down a point. You got to go. There's 30 seconds to go. So you're going strong side, right? Okay. So just put it down. Okay? Perfect. Gene just did it perfect. We bring one other thing, guys. Some guys are leaving a trailing hand with them. You got to bring this hand with you. The U setting, without getting too complicated, the U setting never changes. If you understand the U setting and the structure of your body on the upper half, this trailing hand, you don't land and then bring this hand with you. The other way is different. I'm not going to get it complicated. Trailing hand on the other side never comes with you. On this side, it comes with you to beat you at that pocket. So don't be late bringing that thing here. Your U setting never changes. So if you backstep it correctly, this U set is the same as this U set. So when you're backstepping, don't leave that trailing hand long on me, okay? Okay, so let's talk about this knee placement. Come back up a minute. When you first came out and you dropped in front, I want you to have a rule of thumb. If I can get enough real estate with this thigh in front of this thigh, perfect, stay right there for me. Remember what I want to do. I want to get in front of these two shins. That's all. It's really all it is. Nothing more, okay? So I own so much real estate right now that I got such a deep insertion here that I'm not going to go backstepping. Why? Why don't we go mounting instead? I got a perfect insertion right here. So I'm going to bring Gene's hand back into the equation. Right now, you see how this is going? I'm going to ask Gene to take a big step with this leg. Foot on the ground. Foot on the ground. Perfect. And drive. Let me in there for a second. So stay right here. You're here. And now you just drop this leg in front. Okay? I'm going to ask you to pick this leg up like this. Not here like this. Because I want to pick it here so that I can drive forward. I don't want this thing picking me up. I'm not looking to go vertical. I'm looking to drive forward. So when you're here and you just dropped in front, now I got a lot of real estate in front of this guy. So the moment I picked this leg up, this was my hand position work. I could have gone left over the top, right? But I got such deep insertion. Hell with that. I'm not going to go that way. I can go back that way later if I get in trouble. So now I'm here. So now I'm going to talk about this skull for a second. My first reaction is to get as deep as I can in the skull. Now remember, this leg had always come up. So now I can start aggressively driving this way because now I can just flip this leg up and come right back into insertions, and I'm going to full mount with 4 points. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now to add 2. I'm going to ask you to do the one you're doing, right? You're doing the smash. We're going to go too crazy with the detail. I asked you to put your leg here and do a back step. But this time, you're going to add a second one. You're going to tell me that you got such deep insertion that you said, Coach, I was like, man, I've got to go for that mount. Because what's the worst case scenario? I land here and I don't get the mount and I feel him reacting. I still have my butterfly to butterfly over this side. And now I'm still in this perfect position to rehunt again. But I'm going to you, man, go for the mount, go for the mount, go for the mount, go for the mount, go for the mount. 4 points, man. Like, come on. You know, it's like trading cards here. That's competing at a high level, is you read and react and understand the scoring system, understand your percentages, and why not go for that? Because I got such deep penetration here, and now I'm taking this leg up. I told you don't come here to 40. You're not doing this at a right angle, okay? You're bringing this leg up so that I can get generation off this back quad right here. Now I'm taking that hand, and I'm gonna ask you don't know where this is. You have no idea. You're here, and now you're going, boom, you landed so much. That I picked this leg up very shortly because I don't want anything here, right? I just picked it up so that I can get some firepower. All I'm looking to do is move you 5-6 inches. I don't need to be this thing to cord 45 and up, right? So now I start driving this way to get up because what I'm trying to do is push this shoulder to the mat. Because if I can push this shoulder to the mat, I'll get insertion down here later that I can slide these guys back in, and now you're on butterflies and now you're on a full mount. So I'm gonna ask you before we add more, okay, that we do both, and then we'll add some sequences on submissions from that position. Let's do it. So just bring it up. Let's say he goes to the mounting one, okay? And you're here, and there's reasons for all of this stuff. Like they're all changed. They all change. Whether you're playing submission only, it changes very drastically to IBJJ point settings, totally different. And even like UFC fighting, totally different again. And then real fighting, totally different. When I say real fighting, street fighting, like really, like we're just going at it, dude. It's like no holds, like. So all of the four are totally different in what my choices are right now. Because the IBJJ competitions are coming right now, and I think a lot of people want to do them. They're trying to form a whole thing. We go as a team, and I promise if you want to come to the drilling classes on Wednesday and Friday, I volunteer my time. It's an hour before class, 6:30 to 7:30. If you don't want to stay for class, you don't have to. It's just drilling, 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 drilling. I'm not there to teach, I teach sequencing in that particular class. So I want just so that you guys understand this. Obviously, every time I mount, I would love to have an underhook and a head. That's what I'd love to do. But in this, and I'm telling you, we're playing IBJJ set. When you drop to go mount, you drop, and now you're picking up this leg, and you're driving. Drive, sir, bring him down. Right? When you're here, no. You have no idea where this hand is. You have no idea at all. All you did was drive up the body line, and now your first focus is those grapes. That's your own. You will grape and then return to collect down here because he's going to escape too quickly. You don't know. You're not trying to submit. You're trying to score. So in an IBJJ set, when you drive this, let me in there for a second, right? You don't know. Right? So when you don't know, when you drop this, right? And now you're over here. You don't know where your hands were. Your hand was over here to begin with. So I don't want you to start looking for this thing in here and like, no way. You picked this up and you went for it. And I said, drive it. And you're here. Your only care about is to get your ankles to the ground in that fashion. Because I want to be able to retract them. Some people right now don't have the flexibility to do this, but you got to work on it. Because now I landed in this position right here. Right? So I gotta see if I can get this guy under there. So I just was here. I was like this. I picked this leg up and I drove this. I don't know what his hand is. And I also want to be so high up the body line that if he starts separating me down here, because he's been taught from the very beginning to knee elbow escape. Right? So I don't know what he's gonna think at this point. Because what's gonna happen is he may overcommit on that knee elbow escape where he's doing both. And I'm like this, right? Who cares? Then I'll flip it and I'll take the back. And now I'm on a gift wrap pumping up here. So I don't know how technical he is. I've never met him before. I don't know what he knows. I have no idea. And I'm reading and reacting. So I don't know where this hand's going to be. I also don't, now if I've done everything right, there's a great opportunity now if he doesn't understand his recoveries and he doesn't understand his read lines on me. He doesn't understand. I don't know what the hell he's going to do with his arm. He should keep it right here so that I can't beat that turn, but I have no idea what he knows. He might get so aggressive and go, I'm going to panic, and they panic in IBJJs. They go all the time. And so much adrenaline pumping. They got their grandmother, their wife, their child, everything. Ah! And so they make so many mistakes. I went here, and I drove this, right? And now I'm telling you, I don't know. So when I'm driving forward, I'm getting so high up here because I don't know, at least I can always dismount and not worrying about my feet getting stuck between the legs. But what I would love to do is get your shoulders close to the mat, and then the moment it does, I want to flip these feet downward, right? So that the insteps and everything are flat, because what I need to do is collect down here, right? I don't need him turning at 45, the judge doesn't give me an advantage. No, 4 points, man, 4 points. So I got to get these blades on the mat, because I want to get them in there. So when I flip this guy, and I'm here, I just flip this down here, and I flip these downward. Because I want to get these guys to lace inside there, then now I can go back down and recollect them here, and now I'm hunting submissions, okay? With gi, it's a little bit different, because gi, I can stay high and get collars and stuff. No gi's totally different games, okay? So now I got to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, okay? So that's just for you guys to understand. I'm not going to ask you to go through this. I'm going to take it from here now. We come in here, okay? Why don't we work a dorsal for this? You took a back step this way, okay? So I'm gonna ask you, I told you before to punch this pocket so you can release this kneecap. That's what I told you. Very specific, engineering problem. I replace frames, wedges, everything. Nothing releases until I replace. Replace before I release. So I gotta release this leg. I don't want these two shins getting between me. So I put my hand in here, right? And I can release that leg, okay? So I'm gonna ask you to flip your body line and now you can square up, because you have a blocker between you. Okay, so now I'm not worried about those shins coming. So I'm gonna ask you, bless you, I'm gonna ask you to slide this arm up and collect that elbow, okay? That's what you're doing. So you're here, I'm staying up so that everybody can see. I collected his elbow. So I'm gonna ask you now to start working a dars. Pretty simple. I'm gonna ask you now, the reason I kept this elbow, because I don't want you going to turtle. That's what I prefer. So we're gonna take it right from here. If people want to do the smash to it, great. And if you don't, let's work some details on this. When you're here, I'm going to say that we cup this, right? Ideally, I have the 2 inches of clavicle right here. Then I'm holding the hip line. So I have a cross body. I'm collected this elbow. So the way you retract and you get the turtle is you got to put that arm behind you and you got to rotate this hip. So I've killed both sides with multiple frames. I have a frame here with my clavicle, meaning my shoulders here. My hand is underneath this position. So you're not going anywhere. I don't care how big and strong you are. Mechanically, we're talking about this is an engineering problem. Okay, so I don't want to hear, I do it to him. Yeah, I know, but what does that mean? So you do it to him because you're 20 pounds bigger than him, or five, and he just had like 2 years less experience than you. I mean, that's like, come on. That's like, when people tell me that, I go, okay, you don't understand BJJ then, because I need you to talk to me like it's an engineering problem. So now you come in here, and now this is where we are. I'm going to pretend, like, unfortunately I can't bend down right now with my knees, but I'm going to pretend that I caught and caught, okay? So I have a crossbody pin. So I'm going to replace this pin. I'm going to replace this hand with this hand. So I'm still here. I can always step over and hunt, but I want to submit right now. So I can easily just bring him back if I want my 2 points, great, but that's not really what I want. I'm imagining that I just passed. Now I'm going to tell you a story. You just backstepped it, you fought for position, you did all these things, okay? He is not going to accept this. And if he was my player on the bottom, I would be screaming at him, and I know him personally and his mother and everything. I would not let him in my car. He would have to walk home. If he laid there like a dead duck, and even a reality fight, come on. You're gonna lay there like that? You're gonna accept that? You're not gonna accept anything. So I'm gonna scream at him, and I'm gonna say, Martin, get to turtle, get to turtle, get to turtle. Do not get scored on. So he's gonna fight to get to turtle. And now the things I just described 2 minutes earlier about clavicle and connection, okay? I'm gonna flip my hands because he's gonna fight the turtle. I understand, he's not gonna lay down because then he gave up the points and now he can't get in the car. He knows, right? So I'm here. So I start lacing underneath and now I'm here. So I still have the same position. This is IBJJ, okay, scoring. So I lace underneath and I still have the same clavicle catch with a double cup. Now I can start lacing this guy through, okay? And now I've laced this guy, and obviously you think you have a darce, right? But the moment I let go of this, the engineering problem has a hole in it, right? It's gonna bust a leak. He's gonna retract this guy back, and now he's gonna come to turtle, because I lost one frame on him, come to turtle, right? He has to. Otherwise, I'm gonna yell at him nonstop in the car and go, when he released, why didn't you go to turtle? Like, keep going to turtle. Don't accept that. So now you understand what's gonna happen, because when I go releasing to go into this darce here, yeah, I know, they'll show it on YouTube, Instagram, and everything is based on your partner not moving.
every single thing you see on Instagram, YouTube, I don't care, TikTok, it's all based on your partner just staying there like the, and you do the move. No way. No one's gonna accept that. So now when you go here and you recup and you go lace through, I'm gonna ask you to pause it here. And I'm gonna go, okay, so I let go and he comes to turtle. Perfect, so I put my hands together, right? So I already know, he knew what he was doing, okay? See, my structure hasn't changed. My hands are the only thing that grip together. So I'm gonna ask you to flip your kneecaps, okay? There's a reason for it, okay? Kneecap's gonna come to kneecap, kneecap's gonna raise to the air, okay? There's a reason for it because I want a certain outcome later on how I finish my DARS. So first I'll talk about kneecaps. So I said, forget about the hands right now. I said kneecap, kneecap comes to ceiling, okay? Because when I cut this on a quarter Nelson, so remember, it was like this, exactly how my knees were. They went kneecap to kneecap, knee comes to ceiling, okay? Said, simple dance, kneecap, kneecap, okay? Let's talk about the hands. My hands were already clasped because I let go. He countered on me and went to turtle. That's what he should have done. He knows, now he gets the ride home. So now I come here, I come up. So as I'm cutting, I want to pivot my body this way, right? Because what I really want to do is stuff this head so that he falls over into a 45. Perfect, right? So now I'm here. The second thing, that's easy. You go, okay, that makes sense. But what I don't want him to do is return back until I pause him for a second. And I'm gonna tell you, now you're gonna go see backbend mechanics again. So when I come cutting this, right, and he lands, my secondary leg is gonna proceed to catch that hip because I still have the issue up here that once I cut it, I gotta reflip these hands, right? So there's a reason, two of them now. When you quarter Nelson cut, you drop kneecap to kneecap for a reason because I want to spin this back hip this way. So I blade cut him inside. So I manipulate the spinal cord line, hips follow spinal cord, you understand the mechanics of the body. All makes sense now, okay? Second is I want this leg to catch this hip bone so it doesn't return to me again because I still have the same issue of flipping my hands to this because he's gonna come to turtle again. And if he doesn't, no ride home for him, dude. I'm serious, he knows. So when I come in here, I cut it. As I'm following that hip with this position because he wants to come back up, but I want to release my hands. So now I have the opportunity to catch my DARS. So now I have my lacing, okay? You're not going anywhere. Your first reaction is to go hip to hip. So now this is what I'm doing, sitting down, because I want that top leg. If people didn't get to see Gary Tonin fight Ty Rotolo about 3 weeks ago, as soon as Ty caught that back leg, that's when lights were out for Gary, okay? So Gary's a great player. So now you're here, and you can see Ty was sitting here, and he was trying his best to catch back here. Because once you can catch, now I'm here, I'm perfectly set. I'm gonna ask you now, obviously, you're gonna lay body weight, right? So I'm gonna ask you to catch this, because I don't want him rotating again on me. I don't want him going anywhere. Secondly is, once I have my lacing here, I'm gonna stay up for a second. What's gonna do is, all basically these choke is a compression of the arteries, right? So my body weight's gonna lay flat, right? I'm just gonna lay down, okay? And secondly is, I'm gonna have this goal of squeezing my elbows together, but more importantly, bringing this elbow to the ceiling, right? So my bottom elbow is, I pretend I have this grab. I'm gonna try to lift it to the ceiling as high up as possible, because remember where his arteries are right now. Right? His arteries are sitting right here. So if I lift this blade to the ceiling, the angle of this, we're gonna imagine this is a 2x4, engineer problem. I start changing the angle like this, where it's at a 45, remember where the arteries are. So I need this blade at a 45. I control my body weight up here. So it's easy for me to go dead duck, or you're gonna say just limp dead, whatever you wanna call it, that I'm just laying down. Because the arteries don't need a lot of pressure, they just need a little pressure. So if I've laid myself down this way, where I'm here on this choke and I'm just laying sideways like this, obviously my just gravity and body weight is just gonna pull his skin, his muscle, his gi top, whatever it is, just into this artery. Now I control the mechanics of my bottom one. I don't control the top. Only thing I can do is just apply pressure and just let my body weight sink. Bottom hand now is gotta go to the ceiling because I gotta change the angle of that 2x4 on the bottom. It's because the artery's not sitting on the side of his neck. It's sitting here on this 45 that this guy's gotta go to the ceiling. Okay, guys? Went through a lot of details. Try your best to follow the Cordy Nelson cut. I told you why, right? I told you for 2 reasons. Everything has a double on it. Everything gets replaced, wedges, frames, everything has a mechanical issue. So you understand like why I did what I did. So I'm gonna ask you, if you wanna do it from here, great. If you just wanna start from here, no problem. This happens all the time. Guys are here and they think, oh, squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, and he's trying to turn a turtle. I caught him already. I caught that elbow. Now I just replace, we're gonna pretend to put these hands back. We're gonna imagine I'm here super tight. He turns the turtle. I go, stay right there, no, go down. We're just gonna keep him up for a second so everybody can see. I go lacing underneath. Now, he's not going anywhere. I just double cup the other way. So remember, if I was here super tight, it's easy for me, I'm owning the bottom elbow, for me to start lacing, right? So now my hand sees daylight on this side. The moment I let go of that bottom elbow, I said, Martin, you're walking home if you don't freaking turn a turtle, dude. He lets go, he goes to turtle, I latch, I bring the leg up. So now I'm gonna blade cut that, but I have one goal. So I'm perfectly set, I'm owning this neck at this angle. So as I'm blade cutting, I'm following because I wanna be nice and tight and controlling the turn of this hip. I don't want to have him come up again. So now I can start lacing. So the moment I lace, I got a great lock right now. So now, butter, I go semi-mooning, I lay down the same way. You know what I want? I want that back leg. I want that hip, I don't care which one it is. You can see in the end product of that Taratoa fight, he catches Gary's calf and then lights out on it. I don't care what you do. I just want you to throw this thing over. As soon as I throw over, I start sinking.